Hello, and welcome to the June State of the Lab. In this month's episode, we're going to talk about things like Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Orlando,
Transworld 2025. It's coming fast.
and a really cool thing happened. We got an awesome shout out from people on their own podcast.
And we have some really cool product updates I am super excited to share.
So let's get into it.
All right, let's do that. So, first things first, right? We're going to talk about a little bit about Halloween Horror Nights, right?
Well, nothing groundbreaking from us. We're not on the inside. We don't have any inside scoop. We just know that we're huge fans, and it has become an annual tradition now. For the past couple years, we're going to keep it going strong, is the Six House Tour. I absolutely adore it. And if you guys get the chance to do the behind the screens, please look into it. It's totally worth it, in my opinion.
We're huge fans of the behind the streams, probably because of what we do. We just love to nerd out on it, see with all the lights on, with everything. I mean, obviously show lights are cool, but for me personally, like what I do all day long, like how are they doing it? What are they doing? Like what's the cool stuff? Like what does it look like? And I think for you, it's the attention to detail on like
It's a huge
you
thing.
can actually see what they're because it's dark, right? They turn all the lights off. It's super dark, right?
Well, the other upside for me is I really don't do well in super loud and crowded environments. I kind of melt, which is kind of funny because I love haunted houses so much, but it is a struggle for me. So I try. Last year we did a VIP tour and it was still way too loud and crowded for me.
We did
So RIP, excuse me.
the RIP tour. And listen, I turned 40 this year, and that tour was, it just goes and goes and goes. I mean, you see everything.
You do.
Like, I wanted to sleep for 3 days after that.
You old man.
And we had the RIP, or we had the behind the screens the very next day.
We did. That was a huge mistake. Don't do that.
Do not do that. Spread it out if you can. So we're excited. We're going at the end of September, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the Six House at least, right? We're probably gonna do the 3 at some point because that's how it goes with us. Anyway,
well, you might miss something. You're always gonna miss something no matter what.
Well, now, so that's 9 houses that they're gonna have behind the screens. There's usually 10 that they do, but now there's 11 this year, right?
What is there?
I thought there was an extra one.
Oh
right?
my god, I've been trying to keep it a surprise for myself.
So,
I'm trying not to wreck anything. I know that the cinema thing's coming back and all the other stuff, and I'm really excited, but I'm trying not to wreck it. Just shh.
All right, so let's just without wrecking it, let's move on.
Mm-hmm.
So he did say something about Transworld 2025, right?
Yes.
What is going on with that? I mean, I think that's the end of it's like the last weekend or the last week of February into March coming up, right? So it's a little earlier than it was this year.
I'm not thrilled about that, but we are in progress. So we we actually are taking apart our old crates that we used from moving, and we're making new crates that will animate in cute little ways to display the box and whatnot, or the Igor box product. So that's been interesting. I haven't used the Salza in a minute, and
so one of the things that I'm going to hint towards on this podcast, and we haven't talked about this beforehand, so is this past year at Transworld, right? It was cool. It was an amazing show. Everybody wanted to buy props.
Oh yeah, so that was interesting. People just really they loved the idea of the control thing, but they just wanted to buy the booth and buy all the props. And Austin, awesome dude. I'm sure everybody who in the haunt community has seen him at some point. He's a giant teddy bear who absolutely loves the haunt industry. But he said if I was able to keep doing my magic and find all of these little bits and bobs, like the
it's like American Pickers.
Yeah,
she's like American Pickers for haunts. It's amazing.
But it only works. It only works when I need it. I haven't been able to do it for anybody else yet. That just stuff just does not want to come into my feed.
so we may,
if I get lucky and I keep finding like all the magic,
have some things this year that may be complete props.
Oh, that is a good point. So we are definitely looking into building out a little. Should I completely blow it?
No, leave it for the next one.
Okay.
You may see some more complete stuff along with build your own kind of things, which is kind of cool.
Hmm.
All right, so awesome shout out, by the way. We are just talking about Transworld 2024, right? And
The
we are
awesome.
so far behind on podcasts, listening to podcasts. And Austin, actually, speaking of Austin,
Thank God for Austin.
sends me a message in the middle of the night, and he's like, "Have you listened to the Blood Prison Shakedown podcast, uh, episode 33?" And I was like, "No, why?" And he goes, "Well, you need to go to 11 minutes and 30 seconds in."
And we're like, dude, we've been under a rock, but okay. And we listened to it, and it was just the sweetest thing. It was absolutely everything that we
It was the
pretty
Blood
much
Prison
just.
guys that we met there at the show.
You guys were nerding out so hard together. It was beautiful. And I really, really look forward to them
Oh
like
man,
having everything in their
they
hands.
spent so we did 15-minute demos, which was not enough
I
time. As
told you it wouldn't be.
everybody keeps telling me that, okay, I don't think I was the one who said 15 minutes. Just to be clear, I'm saying that I'm not going to take credit for it's going to take 15 minutes. I can do it in less than 15 minutes. I don't think that happened. But
I think next time we're gonna have to do 45-minute blocks because that's what you did.
right. So it took me at least 30 minutes to get through everything and have a chat and get to know what their problems were and how we could fix them, how we could help. The Blood Prison guys spent more than an hour. Like they hung out, and I had no interest in making them leave either. We were dreaming together.
It was really cool. The
Um,
energy like was just flowing with excitement like between the two, and I look forward to a beautiful future.
so yeah, we are looking super forward to getting them continuing the um, continuing the dreaming with us soon-ish.
And
Um,
giving us really honest feedback because as soon as, and that goes for everybody, as soon as you have what's coming up this next section in your hands, I need you. I
we're going to
need
talk about that in a
everybody to
second.
join us on Discord and tell us your thoughts.
We're going to talk about that. So I will link the Blood Prison Shakedown episode 33 in the video description. 11 minutes 30 seconds in is our first call out. A lot of talking about sort of cool stuff, and then at an hour in, I think is when they were talking about the same thing I was just talking about, the dreaming together stuff. So go listen to the whole podcast. The whole podcast is great. I've listened to it now like 3 times. Every time I'm like feeling like this is getting really hard, I go
Yeah.
listen. I'm like yes, and then we get remotivated. It's great.
It's been a gift. It really has been a gift to keep us moving.
So yeah, let's move on to product updates. I have my keyboard and mouse out because I'm planning on doing a demo, a live demo, which is always great, and it's traditionally on the State of the Lab a huge success. So the first thing I want to mention is that I moved blog stuff. I moved our corporate blog, Rising Orchards. I moved that into basically just press releases at this point, and I started a new blog on help.igorbox.com. It's actually under help.igorbox.com/blog. And the point of that blog is really twofold. First is a monthly update that coincides with the State of the Lab. If you don't want to watch or listen to the State of the Lab, why I don't know. You wouldn't want to watch or listen, but if you don't,
Hopefully you're busy with wonderful hunt makings.
but if you don't, we're gonna publish the information that you guys get here first on an update on the blog. The second thing is it allows me and the rest of the engineering team to kind of share a little bit more of our own behind the screens, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
our own details, like some of the more technical stuff and the technical challenges and how we solve
So if you're a
them.
technical person, like this is going to be really interesting to read.
I'm currently working on a massive blog post right now for it that is going to get into how our backend APIs are actually set up and how they work and how the development of that works. It's super nerdy. If you're into that stuff, we want it to be as technical as possible. All right, so that's the first thing, and I'm going to show you how we kind of linked that how that all kind of got linked into your login page and your dashboard in a minute on the live demo. We also soft launched this week a feedback portal, which is what Lisa was getting at there.
Sorry, I jumped the gun a little bit.
So if you go to igorbox.featurebase.app, we're probably going to move that to feedback.igorbox.com at some point. Right now we're sort of in a testing phase with this. We may keep it, we may not, I don't know. And I'll kind of show you guys on a demo in a second what this is too. But the point of this is I'm really working towards getting an open conduit of feedback back from the people who are using the app and using the devices to tell me what exactly we can do to make it
We're
better.
building this for the community, so we really need to hear everybody's thoughts and opinions.
And I know everybody doesn't want to join Discord, so we're trying to get a better portal for the people who don't want to be in Discord.
Exactly.
Also our roadmap, we like the public roadmap, what we have coming and when we plan on laying out there, right? Instead of just having this monthly update and saying, hey, we promise we're going to try to do this date. It's going to be there all the time, so you can always check. And we can see how your feature requests and your feedback worked into the roadmap, right? That's the whole point, right? So you're really part of the team. The last sort of thing that we were working on before I get into the demo here is what have we been doing for the last 2 months has been 100% web application stuff, right? We kind of hinted towards it, I think, last month or the last podcast, right? We definitely had a lot to do. But and I also wrote a blog post on the new blog explaining sort of what we are working on. But to kind of recap and kind of get a little bit deeper into that, we have a huge amount of mobile upgrades right now. They're coming. They're going to be out very, very soon. That's almost all.
It's getting super cool. So we wanted this to be a mobile thing, and it's just getting cooler and cooler because now we have awesome. The gestures are in. Like, oh my god, that was so hard for you guys to pull off, and it is
so
exciting.
I'm pretty against. I think we're both pretty against having like an installed app. We both don't really. I don't like adding another app to my phone. Like, I don't want that. Mobile web works just fine, except it's a little bit more tricky to kind of get that like pinch zoom and like 2-finger scroll and stuff. So we have that sort of working. It's coming. It's currently in our test build. Then we get to test. I've been testing it for the past 2 weeks. So let's see. Beyond that, we have a ton of changes to the virtual Igorbox simulator. So a lot of you saw that at Transworld. And if you're using the app, that's what you have today. We found a bunch of bugs with that at Transworld, like a ton of bugs, like random weird, like not like oh my gosh it didn't work, but like weirdness.
Things we didn't account for, like 2 inputs going on at the same time, which was like no brainer. We should have thought of it.
But like you get like a pop up of like hey it connected and then disconnected, and you're like, well did it? What's going on? Like why did it disconnect? Like so, tons of stuff there. We kind of rewrote the entire like web-based Igorbox simulator. It actually is legitimately running the same spec as the real boxes,
which is really freaking cool.
We're adding organizations. So this one is a big, huge challenge. This is a big breaking change for us. What are organizations and why is it important? Our goal really is to support like as many people as possible with Igorbox and the Igorbox programming and the applications. So from the person who has a home haunt like us, right? Mm-hmm. You may want to log in. You may want to create an account. You may buy a couple boxes and you'll attach those boxes to your account. You log in and everything is, owned by you, right? We wanted to support that use case. We wanted to make it super easy. You don't need to know anything other than just sign up and go, right? However, we also want to support people like Blood Prison or, more established organizational haunts where there's more than one person that needs access to manually control boxes or edit shows or edit triggers and that kind of stuff. And so rather than trying to create this like hodgepodge of like permissioning, what we've done is we've created an organization structure to where as a user account, so you can have your account, but you can create an organization, right? So let's say you've got Lisa, your account, she's added a bunch of stuff, and she now has started a pro haunt, Rotting Orchards. And Rotting Orchards, she's like, okay, I want to bring in 4 people to manage my Igorbox infrastructure, right? Or she wants to have a consultant help, right? Mm-hmm. In that case, she creates Rotting Orchards, the organization, and moves all of the devices to the Rotting Orchards organization. Now, from her point of view, it's not going to change, right? It's going to be everything's in the same place. But now you can add more people and permission people to the Rotting Orchards organization and let those people have access to do things in boxes, right? This is a huge change to the data model on the back end.
It was a gut job.
Um, and it is currently in progress right now. We're hoping to have that done in the next few weeks and rolled out, and have that ability, right? So for the bottom line is that we now support both use cases, which is kind of cool.
Very.
A couple other things that we are currently in progress working on the UI side, on the web application side, is better telemetry. So this is another big breaking change. So some of you guys saw the telemetry that we have for the boxes and the device triggers and things, and we found a bunch of core problems with the way it was originally designed.
But this works out really well, though.
I didn't like, there were things that I didn't account for, and this actually kind of surfaced when we revamped the virtual Igor box, right? And so what we're doing is changing the backend telemetry system, and which is huge. It's a much better setup. It's actually more granular, which is kind of cool, and it'll allow us to grab a lot more and give you a lot more deeper insight into the telemetry of your running systems. Is that it? Oh yeah, one more thing. We've had a bunch of people ask about DMX, and I know on Discord we've had at least 2 people ask. I've had a bunch of people in person and on phone calls ask. It is coming. I promise you, it is coming. It is my current top priority of all of the stuff, all of the hardware right now. This is a DMX box right here, right? Most of the hardware is pretty set. It's pretty good right now. Our biggest problem with the DMX right now is that it is incredibly difficult to create an intuitive UI, something that makes sense for managing DMX devices on the chain.
Preach the truth.
So, one of the biggest challenges with DMX, if you know DMX, right, and you use DMX every day, it's pretty straightforward, right? Like, it makes a lot of sense, right? Unfortunately, most people find DMX very, very intimidating, and we have gone through a ton of iteration on the design side to try to design something that does not feel as intimidating as just buying, a DMX board and plugging it in and understanding how addressing and all that stuff works, right? So lots of really cool stuff coming in the DMX world for us here, right? We've come up with a couple cool ideas for how to make this happen, but we're kind of going through the iterative phase right now, trying to get it to manage devices on the DMX universe. So, and we're going to support both input and output. So a box can be either a DMX output device, so it can output DMX data to a chain, right, to a universe, or it can be an input device, which it can just capture and listen to a particular address or set of addresses. So, for the people who do escape rooms, that's a big deal. So, all right. So real fast, I'm actually gonna switch over to see if this works. The screencast. Ooh, hello. Look at that. That's us inside of us. There we go. All right. Okay, so here we are, igorbox.com, and a few things to note that have changed. We got rid of the light mode. It's no longer light.
It just doesn't make any sense. Like, you're going to be mainly doing this in show conditions, changing things on the fly, and who really wants to be glared?
And to be honest, it's really about priorities, right? Like, if we do a light mode, dark mode, right, we have to design all of our UIs to be both light and dark. It's not as simple as just changing a color set, right? Because we were doing sort of advanced stuff with timeline editing and all that stuff, right? So we got rid of light mode. Nobody used it. I didn't use it one time.
We're just trimming the cruft because, again, nobody used it. Like, he had it built for light and dark, and nobody used it. And going forward,
just didn't make any sense, right? We may have something come back later if we ever find some spare time. It might kind of come back as a less of a light dark, but more of a color scheme setup, which I've been kind of playing with. Yeah. But for now, we got rid of that. So that's the first thing to note. If we scroll all the way down to the bottom here, you'll see that we have a couple new things down here. We link to our blog now. So if I open up, let's just open this up. if we open up the blog, this will take you to our new blog at help.igorbox.com/blog, and you can kind of see that I've pulled in some stuff from the Rising Orchards website.
Oh, it's so old.
Um, but yeah, so there's the latest one. If we go back to here, you'll also see there's a system status now. We didn't actually talk about this, but this is something that, again, in the interest of complete transparency,
Huge.
we actually do test all of our endpoints as well as our websites. There's actually a lot more tests behind the scenes here, but I don't want to leak a bunch of cool stuff we have coming. But this will tell you if the availability is up. Box uplink is the backend system that the boxes are talking to. So you can see that we're currently sitting at a 95th percentile at 222 milliseconds on the round trip on that. But you can see app.igorbox.com help www. So system status, right? So if something's going wonky or you can't make a connection or whatever, right? Like we want to just kind of socialize that, get it out there. Also down here is feature requests. So this will take you to the feedback app that we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And as you can see here, I've started to populate stuff. Again, it's kind of a soft launch. I kind of started it this week. I'm planning on getting this all cleaned up. You can vote. There's a voting mechanism in here, so people can suggest features. You can add a feature in here or a suggestion. It's basically a big suggestion box that anybody can see and they can vote on. But the other thing that I want to mention is that under the roadmap section, you'll see that we have stuff that's in review, stuff that's in progress, and stuff that's complete, right? And you can even go to the quarterly roadmap to kind of see when we plan on, I'm going to try to keep these up to date on when things are going to be rolling out.
Which will get really cool. The more feedback we get, you can also see when that gets placed in the timeline for everything, and see how it affects everything. It's just going to be really neat to be.
Yeah, and we can also continue.
Upfront.
We can also continue. So if we kind of here, we can continue a discussion. We can have a discussion on various different. If I have a question, you have a question, whatever. Right? Like it's really cool to kind of promote kind of getting people as part of the team, right? Like tell me what you need, right? So that's now at the bottom of the page, right? All that stuff is down here. All right, so the next thing I want to kind of show is I'm gonna log in.
I still hate that. Oh my goodness, that candle bobbing around and that that pumpkin is just drives me crazy every time.
So we've started revamping the dashboard as well, right? I figure I'd just pull it up and show you guys, right, where this is sitting. We're putting some quick links up here, right? This is based off of feedback on a certain someone in this room right now. She said, make it easier to get to, right? So, if you have a new Igor box, you got a button right there to add that box. This what's new is being driven by help.igorbox.com/blog, right? So the blog gets populated here. So if a new blog post happens, you're going to see it when you log in. You don't have to go back to that page to go see it. It'll be right here. And then you can click on, continue reading to pull it up. Over here on the side here is our new telemetry system in action. The event stream here showing various different events that happen. Let me see if I can get it to. This is probably going to not go well because this is a test account. But let's click on this, and we'll see that the simulator has kicked on. Now you can see this says virtual Igor box connected. Right? That's part of some of the fixes that we have currently in flight. And if we come back to the stream page, you can see that it's already in here. And this populates in real time. You don't have to refresh the page or anything. So, and then if you hover over this time, it'll show you the exact time that it happened. Right? So you can see this was 4 days ago. You scroll over that.
If you want data, you will have all the data.
This is an example. This is an example of basically where we're going, right? So now you can see it's like 14, 15 seconds ago, etc. Right? So, and anytime you click on one of these, it'll take you to that device as well. So,
and again, like that virtual box runs exactly the same. It is these boxes. Like it is the coolest thing.
So when I click on this button now, right? Like I click on this, it's actually sending a message onto the backend Igor box uplink, which was on the status page, the Igor box uplink. it sends this message to the Igorbox uplink, and then this device here, this little component in the web application, is receiving it off of the uplink, doing what it needs to do, and then sending back the message that a real Igorbox would send back to notify that it has received it, which then lights this LED, this button up, right? So the full feedback chain of what happens with a real box and what happens with a virtual box is identical now, which has been um, a bit of a challenge, right?
It was a challenge, but I think it's solved a lot of problems as well. It's been great for debugging.
And also, if we come back to the dashboard, you can see that under here, it actually tags this, and it has a little really small, it says virtual. So you can actually, that's part of the telemetry updates that we made as well. You can now capture events and telemetry from virtual devices as well as real devices, and then be able to filter out whether or not you want to see the virtual device data or not. You only want to see real devices, right? So lots of changes have gone into this, right? Lots of stuff. I mean, we've spent countless hours on this. So it's all coming. You can kind of see how all this stuff's coming. I'd show you the pinch zoom, but I'm on a regular computer, so it doesn't really work. But that's also coming. So yeah, we're pretty stoked about everything that's happening. And I guess the real question comes into, when are we expanding our early access, right? Because today, if we go to, let's see here, if we go to www.igorbox.com, I don't think we need to go to the team page. If we go here and we click on register, you get the wah wah, right? We're in beta, we're in early access. I can create accounts. Right? So today, when are we going to be expanding our early access is really the question, right? The question that really kind of comes down to a few things, right? I kind of alluded to it. There are a lot of breaking changes right now in flight. The telemetry stuff, the organization stuff, lots of changes that are going to completely break the way everything works, right? And I have to coordinate those changes with the hardware side of it because they are breaking changes to the way the hardware works, the firmware on our, works. So we're planning on getting almost done in June. I'm pushing really hard to get them done this month, by the end of the month. So once we get the breaking changes rolled out, we're going to be able to expand our early access group. That means, by the way, that you will need to be probably on Discord or on the feedback app.
Well, yeah.
Right. So we'll be reaching out to start expanding it sort of at the end of June for the early access on the web application. The change, I need to get your feedback as soon as possible, right? So as we start expanding it, I want people to tell me everything that's broken, right? I want to know.
And you'll see more information on Discord versus just using this basically. So
well, you're just part of the team there, right? We do
exactly,
like the engineering teams. We do all of our communication on Discord, right? We sit in the same Discord server that everybody else is sitting in, and that's how we coordinate, right? Because we don't have a central office. We're all distributed. We're all remote. So yeah, if you join the Discord, you're part of the team, basically. Same channels. That said, it's a lot easier for me to change software than it is to change hardware. Right? I can change the firmware. The firmware is pretty easy. I mean, we do over-the-air updates, but like if I have to change the way the hardware works, which is also currently in flight, I talked about it in the blog post, but we did hear that people wanted.
It couldn't just be an output. It had to have at least one input. We heard that. We appreciate it, and we're making it happen.
So there are hardware revisions happening right now in parallel, but we're going to get people on the software as soon as possible, right? And
get you comfortable, hear what you guys want as far as feedback on the software as well. So if there's anything else that we can catch, that'd be great. And then we got to move on to these bad boys.
Yep. So that's the answer that we have right now. And I'm happy to chat on Discord about it a little bit more. But yeah, with all of that said, I really want to thank everyone for their patience and continuing to bear with us as we work through just a massive amount of kinks that I think everybody would experience doing something this complicated.
I would hope so. I hope everybody's understanding, but I have to say, like, every extra minute is giving wonderful results. It's huge improvements, and I am so excited to see what has changed just this month alone, and the earlier today. So we are making this work, and we are so excited to have it in your guys' hands.
Yeah, it's coming. We're working as hard as we can. I'm trying to put up everything out there to be as transparent as possible to talk to you guys and get the
This is
conversation going.
not just for us, it's for the community. We want everybody to have the ability to make something awesome. It drives me crazy. So we don't want to stifle creativity. We don't want to stop a good idea. Let us know.
Yeah, and with all of that, I think we're gonna wrap it up here.
Sounds good.
So appreciate everybody that is along for the ride and dreaming with us and helping us make magic, and we're helping that we can help you make magic.
And your
And
guys' excitement really keeps us going. So thank
so
you.
absolutely, I'm not even joking about it. Right, I go listen to the podcast. I'm like, okay, yes, I can get through this next problem. So, yep, if you have a chance, join our Discord. I'm serious. It is literally where we do all of the work, where we do all of our communication through the whole team. Come join the team, and we're here for you. Also, uh, we're on Instagram, Igorbox app on Instagram. We're on Facebook. I think it's Igorbox app on Facebook as well. All of our social stuff is on igorbox.com, www.igorbox.com.
Like and do all the things.
Yes, do all of the things. Hit like on this thing, subscribe to our channel, all that fun stuff. I don't know. We're not good at social media, so
No. We're trying.
have a great rest of the great rest of the day, and we'll see you on the next one.
Scare you real soon.